look at Ahimelech's life and I think, man, this is a story for us. We live in such comfort. I live in such comfort that the second that my life doesn't go the way that I think it's going to go, I get mad at God. I watch you get mad at God. And then I read this, and I think about this, and I think about all the people around the world who claim Christ, knowing that if they claim Christ, they may be giving up their life. And I think to myself, how selfish am I? How have I made my kingdom about me when I preach God's kingdom every week? Our call is to realize that life is not going to go the way that we think that it's going to go. And even if you do good, even if you do right, even if you obey and follow God, things are not going to go the way that you think it's going to go. It's not instant blessing for you. Because the whole point of our lives when we follow Jesus is we say, God, I believe that you are the answer. I believe that there is none like you. I believe that everything in my life should be about you. And if everything in my life is about you, God, then that means even the bad stuff that happens to me. I don't think there's a greater time in your life to show people God's love than the middle of your awfulness. I mean, when you think about what you go through in your life, and you think about the horrible things, the things that you don't want to think about, when you think about those moments in your life when you call out to God, when you cry out to God, when you have those moments, those are the moments when you feel the presence of God the most in your life as Christians. It's in those moments of weakness and brokenness and fear. Ahimelech's life is an example for us. It's not pretty. But it's an example that shows us that we're called to live for Jesus no matter what. I began to look into the future. I began to dream about what things are going to be like in 10 years or in 20 years or in 30 years. And it began to make me very nervous about my profession, or what I get to say and what I don't get to say, and what becomes hate speech. And I asked myself a question, like, what would happen if they were to say you couldn't do this anymore? And I wondered if I just dropped the ephod because I was scared. Because I like my life to be comfortable. And you just have to wonder and ask yourself the question, what is your faith life really about? Because if it's about 10 steps to a better you, and you think that Jesus is about making your life the best that you can ever be, and like more Jesus and more faith means more blessing, like if you think that that's what this is about, then that's not all of it. Because I do believe that God blesses you. I do believe that God can change your life and can bring blessing and favor into your life. I believe those things, and I believe there's a peace that is unmatchable in your life when you give your life to Jesus. But that is not what faith in Jesus is all about. Sometimes it means doing the impossible, hard thing, and you could give up your life because of it. It means losing friends. It means losing jobs. It means losing relationships because you're picking Jesus over everything else. The message that I have this morning is a really difficult message. Doing good doesn't mean good things are going to happen to you. What it means is that you are called to live for Christ. And in your life, how do you reflect Jesus? I guess my last question is just this. Are you really trusting God for everything? Like when you go through stuff, are you trusting God with your life? To the point where you're willing to give up your life. Like that's what we see in Ahimelech. That's what we see in his life. That's what we see in his death. From his faith, we see an example of what it means to be a Christian. Our reward is eternity in heaven with God forever, where we are no longer broken, we are no longer hurting, we are no longer suffering, we are made new and perfect, and we get to be with God in relationship with Him unhindered forever. Right here is a place where we have an opportunity to allow our lives, the good, the bad, the ugly, the awful, the everything, to be a reflection of Jesus. How you go through an adversity is a picture of what your faith is really about. So the question is, how does your life reflect Jesus?